Now, it is time for the absolute bubbliest podcast in the world, Beer Bubble! Hi guys, and welcome back to Beer Bubbles. I'm here and I've got a guest today all the way from Belgium, from Brasserie De Brabandere.
Yes,
and I'm sitting here
very
with
good pronunciation.
Emmanuel, let me try this. Ghesquière.
Very good.
It's okay.
Perfect, yes, Ghesquière. Yeah.
I got it. You're the export manager.
Yeah, that's correct.
And tell us a bit about the brewery, your philosophy and what the brewery is all about.
Okay, so we are a family-owned brewery. We started in 1894. So this year we're actually celebrating our 130th anniversary in September. And so the family is now managed by the fifth generation owners, always been father to son, even though that's not a rule. It's just always been like that. It might even be a woman being the sixth generation, because Albert, the current owner, has a daughter, and if she's qualified and she wants to do it, then we might have a woman CEO, which would be great. We are a peculiar brewery in the sense that instead of just focusing on maybe one or two styles that we do very well, we have a very broad spectrum of beers, ranging from unpasteurized pilsners to very good wheat beer, then the traditional Belgian blonde double triple, and then we go a little bit experimental because we have a very nice, if you're ever in Belgium, a very nice fooder room where we age a beer for 2 years on large oak fooders, as we call them, that either we bottle or keg, or we use it as a blending beer to make other beer styles more complex. And then we also have beers on nitrogen, so we don't stick to the traditional Belgian beers, but we also want to be innovative in order to be able to cater to other markets where, for example, nitro beers are being requested.
I really found it fun because when I checked into your homepage, when you look at the more traditional Belgian breweries, you tend to they kind of focus on, are we doing just cloister style or Abbey style, or we do only sours. But when you look at your page, you tend to go a bit crazy sometimes, or crazy, but you are more diverse and you look more
indeed
curious. Mm-hmm. Is that so that you are interested in trying new stuff?
Of course. I think for me, of course, it's a blessing to be able to sell that many styles. And honestly, if we weren't any good at it, we'd be doing at it. But our brewers are technically world's best, and also they don't do anything just for the gimmick of it. If it is of added value for a particular beer style, we'll try to implement it. Like that nitro beer that we have, we found out that nitrogen has a very soothing effect on big beers, so we made a quad with that nitrogen, and that's worked out beautifully. But yeah, we are traditional in a sense, but we are not afraid to innovate. And we should not, because the beer world is constantly evolving, and we sell to 60 countries, and there is not a single country that is the same as the next one. So we have to have beers for every kind of market.
Customers in different countries prefer different styles of beers.
Absolutely.
But when you say you got like really good brewers, I just checked in and said you checked your like credentials here. It's like World Beer Awards, lots of different medals for best sour wild ale, best flavored fruit and vegetable ale, blah blah blah. World Beer Challenge of Portugal. 2021, you had 6 different medals. I think it was 3 golds, 3 silvers, or something like that.
Yeah, and it's mostly always the same beers that come back. It's mostly it's the oak aged 2-year oak aged Petrus aged pale, which is considered one of the best sours in the world. It was once launched by the famous Michael Jackson, the beer writer, not the singer-songwriter.
The one that
as we
is
all know.
relevant for us in the beer
Yes,
business.
absolutely. And he actually launched it, and it's our holy grail, and it's one of our most important beers we have, because it functions as a blending beer to make other beer styles more complex. And by doing so, we win also medals with, for example, Petrus Red, which is considered one of the best strong fruit beers in the world. And it's because of the addition of Petrus H Pale in that beer that it becomes so complex, and why it wins so many medals.
But in the elevator down here, you said you were a Pilsner guy.
I am a Pilsner
and you
guy.
have a really nice Pilsner.
Yeah.
We're not going to try today, but,
No.
but you have a really good Pilsner.
Yeah. And we also make it the way it should be made, because we don't want to compete on a... You know, in Belgium we have one big problem. We have to compete with the biggest brewery in the world, AB InBev.
Yeah.
And in essence, they are commodity brewery. So they make pilsners and reasonably priced product. Let's put it that way.
Well, it's macro-produced, fastly produced
Yeah.
lagers that
So,
sell
yeah.
quick and big
Indeed.
all over the world.
So, but almost every Belgian brewery has a pilsner, and you also have to understand that a lot of breweries in Belgium own their own pubs. Like we still have until today about 250 locations that we own, and then we put somebody in there to run the pub. So we have to have our own pilsner. But you can do it two ways. Either you make the most inexpensive product and make sure that it sells, or you go the other way around, because you don't want to compete with all the price breakers. So what we did with our pilsner, we stuck to the traditional method, and we make it. And now we're going into a little bit of the beer geek scene,
No
but
problem.
no high gravity brewing, which is very
Yep.
important. So all the ingredients are in touch with the base water. It's not diluted. We love a good Czech style pils, so we only use Saaz hops, aroma hops, no bitter hops. Only 100% barley malt, so no rice or corn to take the price down. And we do an 8 days fermentation, and then a 30 days ice cold lagering, like the Germans do.
Proper lager.
Kalt und langsam,
Yeah.
the Germans they say. So we cool it down to -1, which nowadays is very expensive because of the energy prices. But then we get a very good stability on the beer.
And you get natural clearness to the beer as well.
Absolutely. So
you cool crash it, and
yeah.
you don't. Do you serve it filtered or unfiltered?
Normally it's filtered. We can filter it out in a very natural way, because after 30 days all the leftover proteins they come down because they're colder than the actual liquid.
Yep.
Then we can extract it in a very natural way. And because of that, we have a spotlessly hygienic product that we don't have to pasteurize, and we choose not to. So it's not pasteurized. Last year we did an unfiltered version, just as a gimmick and a one-off. Sold very well. Maybe we'll do it again, but
did it become hazy as well, or does the cold crash actually bring clarity to the beer anyhow?
Between you and I and all the people listening, the only problem, and I'm talking a bit. Well, I can't say this, but the only thing that we didn't foresee is that after 30 days.
There's no haze in the beer anyhow.
Yeah, so there was. You could see some haziness, but not like. You know that there's a type of haziness that you can bring back into the beers with some kind of, I think it's a beer hazy. I don't know what it's called actually, but you can put something in to make it hazy again.
Yeah.
And I think next time we're going to have to do that in order to see the difference, because if you lager for 30 days, there's already such a clear product that you could see some haziness, but the difference commercially it wasn't very good because you couldn't really see the difference.
It's more of a hue of haziness than a haziness in itself.
Taste-wise, it was more bitter. That was nice, but visually you couldn't tell the difference very well. But anyway,
that's what you see in really good German craft brewed lagers as well.
Mm-hmm.
When they lager it long enough, even though it says unfiltered, it actually is crystal clear. So it's.
So as you can see, we do things our way. We don't have any external shareholders, so we don't have to please anybody except the family, and that's just Albert, the owner, and his father, who's still in the business. But nobody else is in the business. No nephews, no uncles, no nothing. So it's a clear line, and he's clearly the captain, and we all steer the same ship. And we brew out of love for what we do. and not because we want to please somebody. And that's why we choose to brew the way we do. Not by cutting corners or making something less expensive because we don't believe in our product. It's a little bit a stubborn way of doing things, but I think on the long run it pays off. And we have the luxury of being around since 130 years. So I think we have the right to do the thing we want to do, and and it's just a nice way of working.
And it's a nice job for you. How long have you been with Brasserie De
It's
Brabandere?
been almost 8 years now that I've been in charge of export.
And your background is? I read something about cigars.
Yeah. I've been in the tobacco world as well, not in cigarette, but in a very nice product, cigars, which are also handmade cigars. I did that for 7 years, and then had a side went to the watch industry, but that didn't last very long. And then I met Albert, and he knew that I had experience in export, and they wanted to grow their export business. And now, 8 years later, I took the brewery from 20 countries to about 60 countries. So it means that we have good products to sell worldwide, and it's just a matter of going out there and spread the gospel.
Yeah, well, the thing is, you can make the best beer in the world if people don't know about it.
That's right.
You're not going to sell it anyhow.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
all parts are equally important.
Yeah.
We talked about cleanliness as well in the brewery when we were up at the bar, and just when we talked about pilsners, and you were saying, just as one of our mottos in the podcast, that if you can make a good lager, a good pilsner, you're probably a good brewery. So
it's one of the first things that I learned when I was at the brewery, that our master brewer said, if you ever visit a brewery and you want to know if it's technically a good brewery, because we have a pilsner background as well, you ask them for their lager. And if the lager doesn't have any off flavors and it's good, then you know that you are visiting a good brewery. So that's why, upon wanting to try some Swedish beers, which I haven't had the luxury to do so a lot in my life, I wanted to try a good Swedish lager to see if Swedish brewers are capable of making good quality lager. And I've tried some.
Well, you
some
tried
very
the
nice
Oppergårds Pilsner now. It's really clean and
absolutely
more of a German style dry Pilsner.
Very nice.
Well, that, and also I tend to realize that when I go to different breweries and interview brewers, I normally look at what they drink.
Mm-hmm.
And it's in 95% of the cases, they drink their own lagers, if it's good. So then you know and especially you know that the brewery is clean.
Yeah,
because you've got nothing to hide behind in the lager. I'm not going to keep you too long today, because we're going to set up for the tasting and everything.
Yeah.
But I do have one last question that we put to everyone in the podcast. And this is the only hard question you're going to get from me today, at least.
Okay.
You are going to die today, but you can have one more beer. Any beer in the world ever produced. Doesn't even have to be in production anymore. One more beer. What would that beer be?
Oh, maybe this is something that a lot of Belgians are going to say, and it's a hate or love beer because of the small breadth that it has. But I always have Orval in my fridge, and for me it's such a simple beer, but maybe simple is not even a good word, but it's complex in its simplicity. And for me, it's also something you cannot copy. You can try 100 times, you're never going to be able to do it because of that particular wild yeast that they use, which is.
But those monks only do one beer as well.
That's right.
And they've done
Stick to what you know.
They've done it for 600 years, so
absolutely.
they should know what they're doing.
Yeah, for me it's Orval in the complexity in simplicity.
Well, thank you very much, Emmanuel, and we're going to have a great night with the tasting. We've got quite a few people coming down here. We're going to try 7 beers, I think, today.
Yeah.
And we'll see if our guests can find their way out of the basement when they're done, because they're not the weakest ones in the world. Emmanuel, thank you very much for being a part of Beer Bubbles.
Yeah, and thanks, guys, for listening.
Ha 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 ha!